In our last episode, we announced the end of this YouTube channel, but also that we would be using the next 6 months to complete our trailer build series. So over the next 12 episodes, we will be taking this project to completion with the help of our families, and this is episode 1.
Okay, so we are heading up to the shop because Guy and Jane have been hard at work. We didn't realize how much work, so they are going to show us all the things that they have done on the trailer while we have been on the island. I feel kind of bad. I have done nothing on the
I saved you a little bit of butyl to clean off.
Oh, perfect. There we go.
I think it might have been Jillian until she was pregnant with it's a great coat.
So is this all the gasket, including the one that we got from... This is your new home, Frankie.
Aren't you excited?
Take a good long look at your new home.
Yay!
The Bigfoot.
Yay! Yay! Yeah.
It's the frame for the cover of the front window. And at some point it got broken in its history and it was bent and damaged. We hunted around and got some scrap angle aluminum to repair, just reinforce this channel here.
This is really important because this is like the showpiece for the whole trailer. This big piece of fiberglass is what you see on the front of the trailer whenever it's driving, and as you can see, they've removed the iconic Canadian maple leaf.
Isn't it made out of fiberglass?
Yeah, so this is like a custom piece made for these trailers, and it came off relatively easy, it seems like, but we're gonna have to kind of remount it and refurbish it all together. But I think it's gonna look really cool. There's just so much going on inside of this trailer.
Yay.
Yes, it is.
Inside.
I mean, right off the bat, I mean, there is this art installation of clamps.
Yeah. So it's going around the frame to reinforce the front window. It's such a big window, and it was just sitting in with the styrofoam and the skin on the inside. And what we found, we actually planted the window in here.
Yeah.
And there were waves in the fiberglass up against the window frame.
Wow.
We got the idea of the wood frames from the one rebuild that you saw online, and Bigfoot.
Yeah.
In later editions of this trailer, they put wood frames around the windows.
Yeah.
These windows see.
Oh, buddy.
I know.
Okay.
Frankie and I are gonna go for a walk. We will reconvene in a moment. This is what I mean. I'm like, oh, the trailer. Never mind. Frankie and I are leaving now.
Bye. So this window frame on the front was probably the biggest one that needed to be done, but of course there is many other things that we are going to be reinforcing. This whole area is where the fridge used to be, and it was extremely wobbly before. I'm not even sure how it actually all stayed in there, but now we have these wooden braces in here so that we can mount whatever goes back in here, because we still haven't quite decided how the layout is going to work in here.
So some of the framing is also on the roof vents because they all had problems with leaking. This one took some very specific custom work because it had to be curved at the edges because of the shape of the trailer.
Right.
This one was a picky roof vent to do, and there's another one at that end. There was a hole in the center as well. There were 3 roof vents, and we've put in a patch of plywood and then we'll fiberglass over that.
I feel like mom and dad have been doing the really like not sexy work while we've been gone, like cleaning up the edges of things like this. This is just a door access port to the side of the trailer where our battery setup was before, and mom spent like a full day cleaning and making sure that this thing is functional. And we're just gonna stick it back on there the way it is.
Shampoo works really well on butyl. Shampoo and a scrubby.
So up until this point, we have been basically just trying to get the trailer to a point of a blank canvas. And now we're at the point where we need to start planning.
We actually have to do the fun part of like designing, the dreaming, what is it all gonna look like. There's a lot of work that'll go into making it actually look like that, but this is kind of a fun phase of like, What will it be? What can we imagine it looking like?
And the best way to get an idea of what that's gonna feel like is to mock it up in the actual space.
So over the last couple of days, I have been primarily looking after Frankie, and the rest of the team have been looking at what do we want this layout to look like? What's actually gonna be functional, helpful with the space that we have? So I'm excited to kind of set it up, you know, with cardboard and wood and whatever else, and walk through it and see how it feels.
So you have a lot of dreams when you start planning your own trailer build, and you realize pretty quickly that you're limited based on the things that you need and the stuff that you have access to. So this is what we have figured out and what we are going to be going forward with for the rest of the build. Leah, do you want to give them a tour?
Welcome. So when we first walk in the door, we've actually kept a lot of the same layout of the original, if you have footage of that from a long time ago. So the dinette we wanted to keep as like a social space. We actually sat in here before, all four of us, pre-Frankie, and it was very comfortable. So we want to keep that to be able to have meals inside, prep stuff. Also, Levi and I work doing this and on the road, so having a big enough table for us to both sit, have our laptops out, and be working is great. It's gonna be a bit taller than this, but it's also gonna go down to make a bed. There's gonna be additional storage underneath here, and all the electrical is gonna be underneath the seat on that side.
All right, so welcome to our future kitchen area. This is going to be roughly the width of our countertops, roughly the length as well. We are going to be reusing the original Jensen roof vent, which goes right here. So this is actually going to be kind of like a kitchen island / storage area. It's probably not going to be this wide, and it probably won't be this height, but generally we just wanted something here to add to our kitchen space, so we had some more surface area. Here we're gonna have another wall to sort of support the roof, mostly, but also to add in some aesthetic elements, like this random accent piece from the original trailer. We're gonna try and incorporate this into some sort of wall structure because it's a cool homage to the original trailer as well.
And this back area is going to be our bed. I'm really excited because I saw like a van rebuild that looked really cool and had this kind of layout. And when I showed it to the rest of the team, they were like, oh, that actually looks kind of great. So I'm like, yay! I'm not super involved, but I helped. But look at me helping. The nice thing is before, the bed was across here and Levi kind of had to like tilt his head and get his feet like up in order to fit. So the trailer is actually quite wide, so this is more than enough space for Levi and I and Frankie to sleep here. And underneath is where we're gonna have our fridge. So this is gonna be able to pull out into this like, what would you call this? Alleyway here in the kitchen, and also we'll have our little toilet that can also pull out there.
Now for those of you maybe struggling to visualize what we are talking about here, we have learned the app SketchUp in order to show you what we're talking about. All right, so in addition to the physical mock-up that we did in the shop, we also have a SketchUp that I made in 40 minutes.
It's pretty great. The picture of the dude is quite something. I can't get over that.
He's for scale, I guess. This is what I managed to put together in SketchUp, and it gives you a pretty cool 3D look at what our trailer is gonna look like. I think we'll start right back where we sort of began. So starting with the dinette area, this is probably going to be the most unchanged part of the trailer. The dinette that we have in this versus most trailers that you see today is obscenely large and is great for storage. So a nice little feature that I've added here, if we can, there we go. You can see that right under here. Those are gonna be our 2 outlets. So we have plenty of charging around our workstation.
This is actually super helpful for me as well to visualize the overhead cabinets, the storage, and how right now it still feels very light and airy in the the shell, because there's nothing's closed. We're looking at this, I'm like, Oh, right. You're gonna have drawers that open up. Like that's gonna be a little wall there. So all of the yellow things, those are outlets of some
There
form?
are electrical connections that I've sort of theorized.
Right, like this is a panel, that's an outlet, that's a... Oh, I see.
There is going to be a hot water tank underneath this part of the counter. Our water tanks are gonna be underneath the bed over here. And these 3 cabinets on the front of our bed are going to be storage. These aren't exactly right, like I haven't put them in there in the right dimensions, but the idea is that we can draw this out to access all the storage that's underneath of the bed.
One thought that I had as well is that underneath the windows back here, because our bed is quite big, if we needed extra storage, because it's quite hard to access it way at the back there underneath the windows, when we lived in a van, the first time we ever did van life years and years ago, they had a really funky, it was just like a wooden shelf that opened up and it was like a thin drawer that you could put like your underwear, your socks, and it kind of acted as like a nightstand or bedside table.
Right, true.
So that could be, it's like a little windowsill, but also is a place for us to put, you know, some miscellaneous stuff.
At the foot of our bed, we have added these 3 shelves here to kind of give us somewhere to put our clothing theoretically. What we've decided not to do though is add a bunch of cabinetry at the top of the back of the trailer and at the front of the trailer. If we can avoid it, we'd rather not clutter up those spaces just to keep the head height area as unconstrained as possible, because we found that in vans and stuff like that, the more cabinetry that's up high, the more you kind of feel like you're hemmed in. And this area to the left of the bed is kind of an unknown at this point. There's a wheel well there and we're not quite sure what size or shape this area is going to be. We're not sure if this is going to be storage on this side or if we're gonna have drawers on the front here. But
it could be like shoes on this side.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a kitchen island, kind of like your entryway table. Like that's where you put your keys or whatever else.
Now, obviously, a lot of this is still kind of up in the air as we have not solidified anything. But as we go along, it'll be interesting to see how close we get to this render. Now, we're gonna go and look at a trailer that actually has a very similar layout to this one.
Here we are at our friends Jamie and Donna's, and they have a 17-foot Escape, which has a very similar floor plan to the one that we want to build in the trailer. So we're gonna check it out, see how it feels. We're gonna get all of us inside of it too.
Somehow, yeah, there's...
Somehow, all of us and the baby carrier. Hey, Frankie? Mickey! Video? You wanna be in the video? No.
Is Escape built in Canada? Is that?
It's built in Chilliwack. You
Built
drive
in
by
Chilliwack.
it.
In Chilliwack.
You drive by it every time you're on Highway 1.
Oh wow. So Escape is kind of like the main competitor to Bigfoot. They're kind of like similar brands, but sort of sisters to each other. So they are different, but similar enough that I think we can get an idea of what this is gonna feel like when we build it out. Because we're basically copying you, hey? Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I didn't realize I was so special.
You're so influential. Oh. We want to be just like you, Jamie.
So you gotta go a little bit farther, Leah. Yeah, right about there. Of course, it's upside down. 80 inches.
And how wide is ours?
96.
Oh my god.
That's significantly bigger.
Wow.
Wow.
That's why they call it a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It's got a big footprint.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just like Levi.
Oh, wow. Full of zingers today, aren't we? So yes, our much older trailer is much bigger, but there is still some similarities. So we're gonna step inside here and see what it's like.
this was built in 2020. Yours was built in 80 something.
Yeah,
80.
1980. Yeah, so it's
That's
literally
round number.
Round number, right?
So it's
There's a good
literally
40 years between them.
40 years newer.
Okay. Can I lay on the bed?
Yes, please do. That's why I cleared it off.
Wow.
Thank you. Ooh, okay.
Okay, this is charming though. I really like the bed at the back.
It's really nice at the back. I
So-
mean, the nice thing is we have another 1.5 for Levi, because this is perfect for me.
Yes,
Wow.
We'll have the baby on there.
smaller than a double.
This feels like enough. Do you have enough cabinetry in here?
We went from backpacking to this.
So there's lots.
We're like, what are we gonna put in here?
To be fair, we're going
You're
from the
buying things
Prius
to put in
this. Yeah.
Noticeable difference is that I'm 6 foot, and where this air conditioner is, I'm pretty well too big.
The Bigfoot's taller too.
Oh, thanks, Jamie. So we got in, we tested a lot of stuff out, got to get a feel for it. Dad took measurements of just about everything you can possibly imagine.
It's all locked in his brain.
Yep.
We hope, because it's not locked in mine. All right, so we're going for a little team walk through the park now, but what was your initial feeling of the escape? How did you feel about that?
It was great. Like, I mean, if it was up to me, the bed could just be that size, but obviously it has to be bigger for you. And it made me feel good that, like, we totally could make that size of trailer work, but knowing that ours is like another foot wider and longer, I think, too.
Yeah.
I think that'll make a huge difference for, you know, the 3 of us and eventually 4 of us who are going to be, you know, using this trailer.
It's also interesting to see a fully built out trailer with all of the amenities like microwave, air conditioner, hot water heater, everything that these things can have, and just see how much space it occupies. Like, we are going to have a lot more space in our trailer, but we're also going to have more space in the trailer because we aren't building a full shower in there. We aren't going to have, you know, a dedicated space for that or a bunch of other cool amenities, because when we go camping, the reason why we're going out there is because we want to be outside.
That's actually one of the things that Jamie was saying as well, is that, you know, their little dinette is perfect, and I actually love how the table slides back and forth. I think that's something that we could think about for ours.
That's smart.
But he was saying the reality is, like, he reads his book there, but you're eating all your meals outside. Like, this is a place to store all your stuff, to cook some meals, and to sleep. But otherwise, the whole point is to get you outdoors.
And so far, I think that we've made a pretty good choice. The floor plan feels good. And so now we just have to go through the next steps of bringing it to reality.
We love the plan. Let's execute it.
We finally had some good news with our window search. We were able to get our window glass made for the panels that got broken. Ooh. These are just like the little things that you don't think are going to take weeks and weeks to get figured out, and when they finally do, you're like, oh wow, let's not break it again. So one of the biggest challenges that we did not foresee with this trailer is the windows. As you know, if you've seen any of our previous episodes, there is a lot going on with the windows in this build, namely the fact that there is no supplier for any of the parts. So we're having to scab things together where we can. And today we are going to put together our first window with our salvaged parts to see how much more work we have to do on these things. I think. One of the things that we have had to do because these windows are so random, is we are having to hole punch manually the holes for drainage that were on the previous gaskets. This is so that water can get out through that tiny little slot on the edge of the window. Literally hole punching every couple of inches along this entire gasket. Father-son enterprise. Okay, you want to hold it?
That looks really good.
I know.
Like, it looks brand new.
There we go. We have our first completed window of the entire project. You wouldn't even know that this had literal moss growing in it before we got to it. Oh yeah, get the pencil mark.
You want to
off
get rid
it.
of those.
Yeah. People are gonna notice.
So obvious.
Yeah. Okay. Look at that. Beautiful. Honestly, it looks really good. When we've polished that up, it's gonna pop. I mean, we may want to figure out something to cover those, but
Well, that's what we're trying to get.
yeah, still some missing pieces, but looks pretty amazing.
Wow, it's so anticlimactic. Oh.
Okay, well, it looks the exact same way as it did before.
Well, you can open them now. That's the nice part.
Yeah, being able to open your windows is helpful.
Should we put done on it?
Another thing that we have decided to tackle is the ceiling and the roof, which is a little more complicated than it might seem. As you may recall, we have not one, not two, but 3 openings where there were vents in the top of our trailer. As you can see, we have already deleted the one right in the middle there that never had a fan, and it was just awkwardly close to the other one, so it didn't make a lot of sense. But recently, we've also decided to get rid of this one because this corner has been compromised due to its location, and so we're adding another hole into our trailer in the middle so that we have optimized airflow. This does mean that we're gonna be cutting another hole in the roof of the trailer and making our lives a little more complicated, but we figure we're gonna be doing it, might as well do it right from the beginning. Another hole in the trailer. So a bunch of months ago, I found this on Facebook Marketplace, along with a bunch of other stuff that this guy was selling from a failed van build that he couldn't finish for whatever reason. And it's apparently brand new, and it is what we are hoping to put into the hole we just cut. So we're gonna see if it fits. Look at that, brand new, still got the plastic on it. So ideally we're gonna have matching hood vents, one at the front, one at the back, to create like a cyclical flow of air throughout the camper. I know a lot of people online swear by the Max fan, and honestly, it's probably the best option. From what I can figure out, this is like the Amazon version of it. Whoa, here, hold on. There we go. Jesus. From what I can tell, this is the Amazon version. It has similar kind of reviews, maybe not as good, but it seems to work well and it should do the job. It's pretty hard to imagine that this material, this thin piece of fiberglass, is what this entire trailer is made of. In some ways, you understand why this whole roof had collapsed without these wooden braces. I mean, I don't even know how it stayed together as long as it did, honestly. Back and get it.
Oh, we get to, oh, it's a timeshare.
In her element, Leah's now a cross-country skier. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh Jesus. We've discovered that Frankie's best sleeping time is in this backpack thing while outside, so Why not skiing? So we're taking Leah out for a family ski today. Slowly getting her used to being on two planks.
Right? I ski once a year when we're in 100 Mile. So the fact that I've gone twice this trip is pretty good. I've only fallen once.
Again, because it's so dry, like the portage from this space into the next one
Yeah.
is now covered in logs that are usually
really?
passable because it's they're usually covered in snow.
Oh.
He's okay.
This is actually crazy. Like what we're skiing through the middle of right now is normally like a lake. And
covered
it's
in snow. You can never even like see the grass.
yeah, and it's so dry this year and in years previous that now it's come up with all this grass and there isn't even enough snow to cover it, which is pretty crazy. Some sort of antics that are occurring. Dad's insisted on a photo shoot.
Well, he wants to get a photo with the tower coming out of his head. Obviously.
Obviously.
Obviously, that's what he wants.
Yeah, why didn't you know that? It's
Yeah.
so obvious
Come on.
how we do it.
Yeah, everyone understood that that's what was going on right now.
I'm not his
Leah,
kid.
you know
I
what
got
you
it.
got to do.
Did it didn't work? What? Let's see what you got.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that kind of works. Well, I think you got what you wanted, Dad. That's pretty good. Oh, and now he's peeing. Oh, charming.
I can go stand with him.
What is happening right now?
They're bonding.
Frankie is still asleep in his backpack.
Good job, buddy. Those 2 hours.
He did great. You did great.
Thanks.
Well, that's it for today's episode, team. Thanks for showing up, for watching, for chilling with us. And if you're subscribed, we'll see you next week for another episode.
Bye.
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 Hey, Frankie, say bye.
Bye. I never painted anything before. See, right now, this cabinet is the most complicated cabinet in the entire build. Look at that. Like a glove. Look at that.